And the last one goes back to the questions about the donations to the Clinton Foundation and whether or not the State Department is going back, at least has whether or not the questions that have been raised in the numerous reports that have come out over the course of the past couple of weeks, whether or not the State Department has the same questions, whether or not the department
Right.
is looking into them, in particular about the donations that were talked about in the Boston Globe story to the Health Foundation that were not disclosed as they should have been under the MOU. Is this an issue for the State Department?
Okay, you and Arshad both asked about that earlier in the week, and I have a little bit more to say about that. I would start by saying I think it's important as a baseline to recall that the same rules that apply in terms of ethics apply to every employee in the executive branch, and they also apply to secretaries of state. Among other things, generally, this means that employees must not participate personally or substantially in matters with a direct or predictable effect on the employee's or on his or her spouse's financial interests, and should recuse from particular matters involving a spouse's employer as a specific party. So that applies to all. And in addition to those requirements, before taking office, Secretary Clinton, there were 3 undertakings. One was an ethics letter from Secretary Clinton. The second was a memorandum of understanding, which dealt with the Clinton Foundation. And then third was an ethics letter from former President Clinton. Now, these were all steps that were taken voluntarily in the interest of transparency and went beyond the existing ethics requirements. Now, as we've discussed, the department reviewed every request submitted to us under the terms of those that primarily consisted of speeches and consultancies by former President Clinton. And over the course of her tenure, the State Department reviewed dozens of entities each year. You've mentioned the foreign government donations. We regret that we did not have the opportunity to review all new and increased foreign government donations. We've spoken about that.
Those
Now,
are the 2. The 2.
yes. There has
There
also
aren't any more that have come to light.
No, not that I'm aware of. There's been discussion about private donations, and that I think was what brought us to the question you raised earlier in the week. The idea that the foundation and its affiliates would publish all of their private donors, which was one of the 2 terms of the MOU, was intended to provide additional public transparency. But I would note that even if all of the private donations had been publicized, there was no expectation under the MOU that the State Department would be reviewing those. You know, we agreed in the MOU, or committed in the MOU, to review the new or materially increased foreign government donations. So there's a distinction there. Going back to the private donations, the Clinton Foundation appears to have published online now all the donations from this period, and I believe they've announced plans to do so each quarter. And the Clinton Health Access Initiative has said they are undertaking reviews of past tax filings as well. We welcome these steps to ensure that all foreign donations are public. Now, at this point, our role has changed. Secretary Clinton is no longer at the department, so for questions about the foundation or the Health Access Initiative or any of the offshoots and their funding, we'd refer you back to them. The State Department has not and does not intend to initiate a formal review or to make a retroactive judgment about items that were not submitted during Secretary Clinton's tenure. The